Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Dauntless Pursuit. We are your hosts, Armand Shahinian and Marina Nazarbakian, two entrepreneurs who found each other at the gym one day, fell in love, and put the pursuit of the dreams into overdrive. In today's episode, we're joined by Ellana Bryan, a curve model and body-positive influencer who moved to LA from Ohio to pursue her passions and career. Ellana, would you like to say something?
Hey guys, my name's Ellana, and I just want to say, guys, thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
This is my first podcast experience, so I'm a little nervous, but I'm happy to be here.
It'll be great. We're all excited to meet you too. So, I'm going to go ahead and start with our questions, and then we'll let our conversation go from there.
Cool.
So they say success requires one to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Whether it's something where you're doing something that's out of character for you, or you have to take some sort of financial risk. Has this been true for you too?
100%. I think kind of in like every area of my life. So some of you know, some of you may not know, but I moved from Ohio to LA by myself to kind of pursue my dreams and actually learn how people just like work for themselves. Because that was not a concept that was presented to me at a young age. It was always just kind of work for a paycheck. That was the lifestyle that I was used to. So moving to LA and kind of uprooting my life is probably the biggest change and risk financially, emotionally, that I could have taken.
When did you decide you wanted to work for yourself or depend on yourself in that way?
I feel like I've always wanted to work for myself since a young age. I just didn't really think it was possible, or I didn't understand how. Until I worked for other people a long time. I worked in an office, restaurants. I was a nanny for a long time, and I just realized, like, hey, I want to work for myself. I want to give myself the time of day and the chance to do things that I'm passionate about. And then if it doesn't work out, then...
At least I tried.
Yeah, I tried, and I can always go back to the stuff I was doing before, but it doesn't give me a reason to wake up in the morning, you know what I mean?
So, was there a wake-up call one day where you're like, okay, this is enough, I need to dive into just exploring my options of working for myself, or was it a gradual thing?
It's happened multiple times for me. Definitely when I moved to LA, that was a big wake-up call. I was working in the insurance industry at an office, like 10-hour days, making a lot of money, probably the most money I ever made at that point in my life. And I was so grateful for the knowledge I was learning, but I was like becoming sort of miserably depressed. I felt like I was kind of living a life that wasn't mine, and I was just going through the motions of like being a good daughter and having a good career and doing like the businessman kind of thing, but it wasn't who I am as a person. And it just slowly kind of spiraled into this thing of like, what am I doing right now?
So what are a few things you had to do that were outside of your comfort zone or made you uncomfortable recently that may have also helped you improve your success in life?
So many things. One, putting myself out there on social media every day is like taking a risk in itself. Just people commenting how you look that day, saying whatever they want to say. So just putting yourself out there in that regard, and then also like coming here and doing this podcast. It's the first time I've ever done a podcast, and I could have said, you know what, I'm nervous, I don't want to do it. But every time I do something that makes me a little nervous and like unsure, I learned so much, and I feel so much more confident to tackle like anything else.
It's a great approach and attitude, I think.
So for being someone that pretty much is like all eyes on you, like especially that you're building up your own like career, starting, and wherever you go, they already know who's coming, and people being sometimes like judgmental. How do you overcome that? Like you're saying, people are commenting, like they're gonna judge you. They're gonna say, okay, this is how she is, good or bad comments. How do you react to those comments? Do you care, or like whatever, I do whatever I'm gonna do?
I mean, I'm one of those people where I care about the people closest to me. So if it's like my mom says something like that, I'm really going to take it to heart. If it's somebody I've never met, I could care less, But I would say generally I have a lot of support around me, mostly positive, which a lot of other people online sometimes don't have the same experience. So I 100% feel for that. But it's all also how you change the conversation. So some people will say negative things to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, you know what, I understand why that could be negative for you.
Mm-hmm.
But this is why I do it, and this is like why I'm successful because of that. And then they really quickly like kind of jump on board and be like, you know what, you're right, and I think I'm on your team now too, you know? I understand, yeah.
You have a special skill then.
It's like connecting with people. We're all people at the end of the day. We all come from a mom and a dad, and like we all have dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you just have to kind of like break it down for a second and be like, I'm just a person.
And you realize maybe that negativity is coming from maybe a self-conscious place from that person.
Right. And I've been there too. Like I've done a lot of self-work and spiritual kind of learning on my own to understand like old thought patterns and mindsets and like how to evolve past that.
So how long did it take you before you felt the risks you were taking and the work you were putting in started to pay off?
Right now, maybe not even. I feel like it's like a constant thing, especially in LA. There's so much creativity, so many people that are interested in business and entertainment, and it's just like kind of a never-ending thing of putting yourself out there, taking risks, and just always wanting to grow and improve. So right now I'm getting to the point where I feel like this is my full-time career, and I feel happy and excited and thankful and grateful for all the projects that are like coming my way. So I think now is kind of where it's starting to feel like it's paying off, but
so how
there's
long
so
has
much
it
more
been
work
then?
to do.
Has it been a few, like 1 year, 2 or 3 years?
I would say so I've been working on developing myself the past 2 years, and then the past year has been more serious, and probably like even the past 6 months has been like, okay, I need to really figure this out, and like this is my career, this is what I'm passionate about now, and where do I, moving forward.
So then what's a day in the life like for you the past 6 months?
Past 6 months?
If this is when you've really like hunkered down and focused.
Yeah. It's a lot of learning. Kind of working for yourself and having a career that's based around as much effort as you put into it, I would say, has been a balancing act for me. So it's like, how do I keep my personal life and then also full throttle, like, do this as my career? So I guess the day in the life is kind of a lot of wake up, routine, self-care, emails, meetings, events. I have some days where I'm social and I go out and I'll do things like podcasts or interviews, events. And then I have other days where it's like I need to just be a person and like hang out with my friends, do something I want to do, go out to dinner.
But you don't have like a set routine, like I have to wake up at this time or always do
I
this
don't.
time?
I'm not to that point. I wish I was, but I'm deep in my heart, I'm not a very planny person. I kind of like go with the flow of what needs to be done. But I'm working on it, and I think a routine and a schedule would benefit me.
I think it depends on personalities too. Some people do better with the routine. Some people feel like shackled and rebel against it.
Yeah, it's. I do. I've always felt kind of, I guess, shackled in a way.
Kind of like restricted.
Like a schedule. It's just like this extra thing I have to worry about, and then I feel like, I don't know, like more disappointed in myself if I don't get something done that I need to be,
So, you left Ohio.
Yeah.
You came to Los Angeles. It's been 4 years, right? You've been living in Los Angeles. How long has it been? Definitely you've been going through lots of difficulties. So you want to be an influencer, you want to become a model, which you're already a model. But what is the target that you're looking at? What's your biggest goal? Becoming a model, what is next? Are you looking for something? Are you expecting for something? What is...
So I am really hard on myself, and I feel like I have a lot of goals that I hope to achieve. Some outside of modeling, some inside of modeling. So for modeling, I would say that I would love to land like a national campaign. I wanted to go for Sports Illustrated cover. And
Did you try out this last time?
Yeah, I went through the whole process this time around. Nothing happened from that, but that's okay. Learning, growing,
try it again.
Yeah. So I'd love to do something like that just to show that, like, wow, I really am here. I really am living my dreams, and this is real. And then also it's a big deal for me because people don't talk about this in the industry much, but I'm pretty short. I'm not a model height at all, and so I've had a lot of struggle with actually being signed by a modeling agency. A lot of the modeling work that I get is from my, I would say my personality and like connecting with brands that want to work with me. So I still to this day struggle with actually getting bookings or being signed with the agencies I want to work with because of my height. Maybe some other reasons too, but
so maybe in the future you could start your own modeling agency that doesn't restrict people on that.
That's a good idea. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, like, right, that's a gap that exists, and why does it have to exist that way, right? You're able to wear clothes just as well as anybody else.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a limit or like any restriction like, oh, she's short or her eye colors or like her hair.
It is. So
like,
if you guys, I don't know if you know, but if you look on any like modeling pages and stuff, it'll say like we have a casting. You have to be between 5'9" and 5'11" only.
Yeah.
Right.
There's like, okay, well, that's everybody else.
Right, and then how are you actually going to like, target the audience of, you know, the population that's not that height? How are they going to relate to that model?
Yeah, like beauty doesn't have like size, image, or like, it's just like, I don't know, it's kind of like crazy when people are trying to just say, oh, it's for the height or it's because of the weight. It's just like, you haven't seen the person. Maybe they're really cool, really nice, or the way they're just representing who they are, it's something amazing. So I feel like you have to give everybody a chance.
Right.
And from there, you start like picking up, okay, this is what I want.
Not even that, like even if I try to go shopping, I look at all the pictures of the girls wearing the clothes and like, I have no idea how it's going to look on me.
Okay, so this is the thing, right? I'm kind of considered a curve or a plus model because of my measurements, but I'm like severely shorter than most of the other girls that are kind of in my peer group. So we're wearing the same clothes, the same size, but it's like they're so baggy on my arms or like my legs are so long, and it's like, yeah, these are my measurements, but it's made for like a 6'2" person, and the most women in America are like not 6'2".
Well, yeah, that's one of the reasons. Like the women's line, our clothing line, is kind of based on a girl with my measurements, which I'm shorter. I'm like 5'3", 5'4".
Yeah.
Because I had the same issue, right? I would go. I used to have to go buy capris to get the pants to be the right height.
I have the same. I do have the same problems though. Like,
yeah.
I consider myself a model and I work as a model, but not a typical runway 6 foot tall model, and so that's always been a struggle for me. But I'm hoping that like,
maybe you can fix the gap.
There's always a way around, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
Cool.
let me actually ask a question about that. Do you think, I wouldn't say like, is it a weakness, but the people like, there's a girl, same size, same height. How would you encourage them to become a model? They like look up to you and say, oh, like if Ellana is doing it, I want to do it too, but I don't know how. Like she's struggling with the same like height and this kind of situation, but what would you tell them? How would you encourage them to do the modeling?
I'll be honest, it's not easy because I still struggle with some of those challenges. And if I said like, yeah, you can do this, this, and this, and go get a job and make as much money as you want, like I don't think that's gonna happen. You have to really, really put in the effort and the time to build connections, and I think relationships with the brands and the people that you want to work with, and say like, look, this is why I'm doing this. This is the gap that it's filling. These are all the women around America that look and feel like me, and and these are the people that like are inspired by this, you know, or will be buying from you. And I think that would be one of the ways that I would give advice on that.
So that said, you are considered a positive role model for a lot of young girls.
I hope so.
If there's a message you could give them or advice you could give them, not just as far as like modeling, but just being more confident in themselves and appreciating who they are and the body they've been given.
Yeah.
And appreciating life, what would you say?
One, nothing is permanent. So like kind of however you're feeling in that moment, you go through a bad breakup, whatever, there's always going to be a process where you might like see the light and kind of move on from that little negative space that you're in.
Kind of just learn from your experiences.
Learn from your experiences. Like when you're young, everything feels so like intense in that moment. But kind of as you get older and just have more experience, you realize that this is just one small part of the big picture. And it doesn't have to define you as far as like that emotion or whatever you're going through during that time. And then also just have confidence in yourself. Like when you're young, I feel like you look up to people so much because you're like, I can't possibly know all the answers. Like, they're better than me. They know everything. Like, I need to be just like that person. In reality, they're just figuring it out just like everyone else. They've just been doing it maybe a little bit longer. So there's a lot of times when I was younger where I like really felt strongly about something, and I was just, I didn't say it, or I felt like I didn't have the authority to say this is the right thing to do because I wasn't old enough.
Like, who's going to listen to me?
Yeah, so just having confidence in your intuition and, you know, being a good person and following your passions and sticking to it, I think.
Who's been your biggest supporter and believed in you?
I'm gonna have to say my mom, right? Everybody says their mom.
You don't have to say it if it's true.
I'm just kidding. Mom, I love you. But I think my whole family thinks I'm a little bit crazy because they're just like, what are you doing? Like, this is so far out of my normal lifestyle. But, yeah, definitely my mom, my family. Like, I love them. I can do no wrong in my family. Like, we're such a close bond. But then also peers and role models. Like, in the modeling world, Ashley Graham and Iskra Lawrence are, like, kind of pioneers in the same type of modeling that I'm doing. And, yeah. So I think peers even, just like creative people in my field that inspire me so much.
Have you talked to them?
I have actually have done a little bit of modeling for Ashley's brand's Edition L. Yeah, that's her brand. I reached out to them. I don't think I actually have been able to work with them so far, but I've had some reposts and stuff from Swimsuits for All, like for the collection. And then Iskra I actually met in New York. Beautiful, beautiful soul. She's so nice and so sweet. But I'd love to kind of circle back now and see about maybe working with either of them in the future.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
My goodness. For those people listening, we do the podcast out of a home studio, and we also have 3 dogs downstairs, and we just heard them all like running like a stampede. So
yeah, so all the like and like lost train of thought is probably the dogs running.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna say. Let's see. So you said your family's been super supportive. Has anybody tried to convince you that you're doing the wrong thing? Outside of your family, since they've been supportive, I'm assuming they have.
Nobody is trying to convince me that I'm doing the wrong thing, but a lot of people like to give their input of what I should do. So they might not say like, hey, stop everything you're doing, that's horrible. They might just say like, why don't you try doing this, or you should move more in this direction, and it can get a little overwhelming and confusing for me because I'm like, hold on a second, what do I even want?
Do they start to create doubt sometimes?
So it creates doubt in me sometimes because I'm like, oh wait, maybe I should be doing more of that. Or
so how do you refocus after those experiences?
It's hard. It's something I struggle with, to be honest, because I'm very empathetic and I like love people and I care. But I think it's the self-growth. Like I will do journaling for 2 hours, or like writing down my thoughts and just getting it all out there, and just always coming home to center of like, okay, this is what I care about. I love people. This is my intention. And then just like reminding myself of what is it that I really want. But I'll be honest, like I struggle with it, to be honest, because it's like.
You said you're very much into spirituality and self-development and everything. So, what's the biggest lesson you've learned in your process of growth in that area? Or do you practice certain things like meditation or gratitude or visualization?
I've tried all of the above. I think gratitude is the most important because everything that you approach in life from a place of like, I'm grateful for this opportunity, can really change the conversation between, like even in business, of like, I'm really grateful for this opportunity, how can we work together? It really changes the conversation versus like, this is what I want, this is why I want it. So that's important for sure. But then also just reading. I love reading. I read so many different books on different topics, and I think it gives you, when you read so many different kinds of like viewpoints and perspectives, it gives you the ability to have your own perspective of like, yeah, this person is cool, and I love what they say, but like,
Take a little
kind of
bit.
more over here, you know, and it's just, it gives you more confidence to be like, I'm on board with this, I'm not on board with that, and that's because I read all this stuff, and now I have like education about the subject.
Sounds good. What's the next goal on your list? I know you said you have a lot of goals, but
Okay, so my most immediate goal is to produce content for my YouTube channel.
that's awesome. So you're gonna be launching an upcoming YouTube channel soon.
Yes, I'm hashing out exactly what kind of series I want to do on there. But definitely showing a little bit more of my personality and more versatility in my career and like what I want. And doing like collabs and working with people in the creative space, because I think it's so important to not only have a platform for yourself, but hear from other people also, you know?
Okay, so you're planning on maybe doing collaborations with other people in the industry and things like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe other industries.
For sure. Yeah, maybe a little beauty and fashion and fun, and then, but some more deep topics too, and
That's great.
I'm hashing that out.
I'm excited. You should let us know when it launches.
Okay.
Right. Did you ever think about like being in a movie? Like usually like.
Yeah.
Okay. See, is
Your
there
eyes
any,
lit up.
so is there any
Only since my waking moment.
like, is there any kind of movie that would you like to be in? Like action movie, drama? What would you like to be in?
So this conversation is super crazy for me because the thought of even thinking of myself in a movie is like, I was raised to be like, that will never happen. But I love movies. Honestly, I'm such like a culture buff. I love music, food, everything. So what kind of movie would I be in? I don't know, maybe a rom-com. I think that would be super fun.
I can see that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think rom-coms are just like a heal-all, like you're feeling bad and you just watch a movie like that and you're just like, everything is good in the world.
Like what was the movie?
I've been telling him, can we watch one of those instead of all the action movies all the time?
I don't want to get bored.
Rom-coms are not boring, by the way.
I mean, some of them, it's just like the same thing. Like just different characters and just different people.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean...
But she's right, they're feel-good movies, at least for girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you could do a rom-com like, okay, Adam Sandler's 50 First Dates.
That's cute.
That's addressing like a cool topic that most people haven't
That's
seen
true.
before. And it's like kind of a weird, interesting idea. So for me, that's something I would love to do, you know? Like something fun and uplifting, but also touching on a kind of like controversial topic.
So, it would be any like actor or actress that you would like to work with, or
Tons of them.
just one actor, one actress? Who would?
One actor, one actress. God, this is so hard.
Or it's crush? No. No. It's just like.
I think it'd be awesome to be in an Adam Sandler movie just because I love all his stuff.
Okay.
It'd be super
I think he's
cool.
gonna hear this and he's gonna be, hey, Ellana, guess what?
I would literally die. You have no idea. And
But
then
it's not
also,
impossible, right? I mean, if you just vision it, it's gonna happen. Like I would say, 3 months ago, we didn't think about having a podcast. Or like last year, I was imagining and visioning being in a Feed Expo, have my own booth. Because I was passing by all this nice booth, I was like, imagine just being here. And guess what? Like this year, I'm already having a
It's
booth.
happening. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's just like visioning and how bad you believe it. And if your vision don't make you like feel crazy or uncomfortable, that's not a vision or dream. It's just something simple.
I agree with you, but there's layers to this. Like, you know, it's a process. Your beliefs and your doubts and everything.
Mhm.
Like, you have to kind of go through stages to get. You can't go from 0 to 100. I mean, you can,
Definitely.
but that's how people kind of burn out. So I think some of my success of what I'm doing is like, I'm being gentle with myself, like taking my time, and like, it's okay that everything doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
But I love
It's a
to
lot
drive
to
also.
adjust to.
You never know what can happen. And then actors, everyone always tells me that I'm like the curvy Amber Heard. So it would be
See what I told you.
everyone.
But I thought you're gonna get like offended if I said, "Oh, you look like Amber Heard." No, I'm not.
No,
I'm not.
I don't get offended. I mean, I'm honored.
Mhm.
So even just to have like a picture with her would be sick. All my fans would be like,
So
oh
how they
my
gonna
God.
recognize you? Which one is Amber Heard? Then some people think I'm so like into cars or like houses, but
Uh-huh.
I ever thought about having like a dream car or like do you even like focus on that, or cars for your like
Me?
A to point B? Or like a
So,
house?
My dad when I was little was actually a mechanic, and it's kind of still one of his dreams to repair and restore old classic cars.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, so I do have like a little bit of history around cars as far as like I feel comfortable with them, like they're cool, it's awesome. With that said, everyone loves like a sporty car. I got to drive, I went to the Porsche experience in LA, so I got to like test drive and learn how to drive
How
a
was
Porsche.
it?
It was so sick, it was awesome.
Adrenaline level, all that.
Yes, I love like you get to like drift around this little circle thing, and I'm just like, this is the best.
Oh my god.
So definitely like a flashy, cool car, like a Porsche, a Benz, you know, that's definitely my jam. But I've been driving a Prius at the moment.
That's fine.
And what I'm about to say is I'm kind of on board with like the electric car thing, and or a hybrid car. The gas is crazy. So it's so good. It's like I'm saving like my whole salary just in gas. So I don't know. I'm kind of in this cross between like I love cars, but I'm not sure if they're bad for the environment. You know what I mean? So
Interesting. So maybe a Tesla, or there's a bunch of new other electric cars.
And also you mentioned about environment and stuff. You love animals too, like pets.
I love animals.
right?
I love science. I'm just like someone who's like I've seen every documentary on Netflix. I just love learning
Right.
all topics, especially if it's like space, science, health, wellness. I'm all over the place.
So maybe in future you would like to have a pet.
A pet? Oh, of course. Oh my god.
What would you choose? Like if you had just one choice?
I mean, probably a dog. I love your husky. I mean, I have to say, it's like the most beautiful. I might just steal him from you because he's so perfect. Huskies are my favorite dogs. But speaking of animals, I can't believe we have like endangered species right now, and I've always wanted to see a panda, like actually in the wild or in person. I've never seen a panda before in my life, so when I was growing up, I did reports on them. They're like my favorite animals. So.
Oh my god, that's really amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess on that note, is there anything else you want your fans, like maybe we didn't ask a question, but there's something you want your fans to know about you or a side of you?
I want everyone, my audience, to know that I love you and I appreciate you, and your positive like support in my comments on my Instagram and everything means so much, because I know that a lot of people on social media don't have the same experience. So I'm so grateful for that. I have like a lot more coming, so feel free to stay tuned to me. But also I want to say that I have a fear of singing, and I love music, and
That's your
one
next
day
challenge.
that's going to be something that I
Have you
dip
ever
Working
my
done
on
toes
singing?
into. Huh?
Have you ever done singing?
No.
Or like you don't sing in the shower or anything?
I mean, yeah, I sing everything.
You all do, right?
I do. I sing everything. I'm singing like, you know, the ingredients on a product. Like I sing everything. I just have a fear of like actually
In front of people?
singing in front of people, and then just like I think it's just so close to my heart as far as like I love music so
Makes
much.
you vulnerable.
Yeah, and it's kind of the last thing that I'm afraid of.
You'll do it.
Oh, I think you got this.
But
And also I think this is my personal experience, or I've been talking to a lot of people, and some they just take it personal, or they get offended that, oh my god, I email this person or I message this person, but personally I was telling them, you have no idea, you're not in their spot. Imagine someone having like 1 million followers, or like whatever, like huge amount of followers. Imagine just checking every single comment and message and email. That would be like huge thing. And it's like just some people, they take it so personally, like, oh, I think she or he don't like me, or he's
it's a lot.
And
it's
you
hard to
handle
do everything.
yours, right? You're handling everything.
I
right
do.
now.
So I know a lot of people will write to me, and like the first thing they say is like, I know you're not going to reply, or I know someone else is managing your page, but I do manage my own at this moment, and I do actually read my DMs and comments, and I reply to as many people as I can. It is a lot, and that sometimes I can't like comment or reply to everyone, but I do the best that I can in the moment, and I think that people appreciate that. And
Yeah, I think that's great.
yeah,
People like knowing they can connect with you somehow.
yeah,
right.
I agree.
Okay. Well, this has been a really great podcast. Hopefully we can have you back in the future when you accomplish a few more goals.
We want to have like
And we'll do an
Or
update.
if
an
you become a
album
singer,
or a
yeah.
movie.
Adam Sandler.
Alright.
you're
thank you
suddenly
so
gonna
much for
watch
having me.
Netflix and see her. Oh my god, she was here like a
She
year
could do her
ago.
own documentary.
Right.
Oh,
She
that'd
could
be
do
cool.
one.
About what
She
though?
on her list.
What's your life?
All the
Coming
things
from
I eat in a day,
Ohio.
that'd be a good one.
No,
Coming
but
from
I mean,
Ohio.
you know, like your perspective on trying to be a body positive model and everything like that, you could document, or if you start that modeling agency, you
Right.
could document the process of
And she's been
starting
going
it.
through a lot of
We
challenges.
have a lot of ideas if you need any.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just like gonna come here and you guys can
Just hit us up.
be
They're
a
gonna,
team now.
she's gonna send you tons
So
of.
we are working together now.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, we have tons of ideas. And
I
we'll-
love that. You'd be surprised how like some people just have no creative like
And
yeah.
they just waste time. Like, dude, really? And they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's weekend. Really? What is weekend? Come
I
on.
love your
let's do
guys' drive.
something.
It's so inspiring. Just like do it now.
Well, we're proud of you too. So
Thanks.
thanks again for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I really, really enjoyed it.
We'll definitely be in touch.
Okay.